as you get older,
Yep.
you have to look at things in a different way.
I'm keeping my fucking hands up.
I'm not reaching for no gun, bro. Can I move my phone?
Might unlock all kind of strip clubs in Omaha. We don't know. This is musty. This is disgusting at the highest level.
Floyd Mayweather didn't hold back, landing a sharp jab at Terence Crawford after his recent traffic incident, and it stung. Talking about Crawford's over-the-top celebration, Mayweather shook his head at how the Omaha fighter carried himself after taking down Canelo Alvarez. If a win over Canelo has Crawford acting like he owns boxing, imagine what he'd do if he beat legends like Manny. Mayweather said, eyes narrowing, for Floyd, every fighter knows their place. And Crawford's victory, something Floyd himself handled calmly years ago, seemed to have him bouncing too high, because in Mayweather's eyes, he's just not on that level yet.
A lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in the fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
Yes,
fight.
sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah, he's a chess master.
Yeah, his IQ in
But
that
the
shit.
funny thing
Mayweather's critique didn't stay in the ring. He turned his gaze to Crawford's offering troubles, calling out the fighter's latest run-in with Omaha police. It's unfortunate and embarrassing, Floyd said, his voice heavy with disbelief. Instead of chasing headlines like this, he added, Crawford should have been somewhere quieter, surrounded by family, soaking in his victory, and savoring the place he'd carved in boxing history.
I'm not reaching for no gun, bro. Can I move my phone?
Bug Crawford being harassed by cops and pulled over by the cops right after the parade. This is diabolical.
The headlines Floyd warned about started forming early that morning in downtown Omaha. Just hours before, the city had rolled out a massive parade to honor Crawford for his Canelo victory, with the champion taking center stage in a celebration that felt larger than life. But by night's end, that triumph had taken a sharp turn. According to Omaha police, shortly before 1:30 a.m., officers spotted a vehicle weaving recklessly near North 12th Street and Capitol Avenue, prompting a stop on Cash Street. Inside were 4 people, including Crawford himself and his head of security, Qasim Shabazz, turning what began as a night of glory into a story of chaos.
Crawford was identified as the driver. According to police, officers observed a firearm on the floorboard on the driver's side. All 4 people, including members of Crawford's security team, were ordered out of the vehicle at gunpoint. I spoke with the head of Crawford's security this afternoon, who says he's still shaken up.
Later that day, police released a statement detailing their side of the story. They explained that while speaking to the driver, an officer noticed a loaded weapon on the driver's side floorboard. For safety, all 4 passengers were ordered out of the car at gunpoint. After checking IDs, the driver was confirmed to be Terence Crawford, who was cited for reckless driving. The statement also clarified the firearms found in the vehicle, noting that one passenger, a member of Crawford's security team, was carrying a legal weapon. The department made it clear all 4 occupants were legally allowed to carry firearms.
Bro, I got a crazy clip to show you guys right now. But isn't that a policeman holding a gun to the 3-time undisputed world champ Terence Bud Crawford's head? What did he do that was so bad that you had to pull him over?
Fans who had cheered him hours earlier at the parade were now seeing the same champion in handcuffs on Cash Street. Frustration rippled through the crowd. What should have been a weekend of pride for Omaha had spiraled into disappointment. Many directed sharp criticism at Crawford himself, condemning his reckless driving and questionable choices. KV News reported an officer at the scene explaining that the firearm was noticed when Crawford reached down for his documents, including his license and registration, turning a moment of routine procedure into a spectacle of tension.
That was a nightmare. You know, future husband, just had a brand new child and, you know, children and, you know, and stuff like that. And to know that I almost lost my life last night because we had a police officer that don't know how to articulate a traffic.
An officer explained that as Crawford leaned forward, the firearm became visible by his feet, a sight that prompted the decision to order all occupants out at gunpoint. According to the same account, everyone in the vehicle was placed in handcuffs while the situation was carefully sorted. Throughout the stop, Crawford could be heard insisting he wasn't reaching for the weapon, raising his hands and making it clear that he was fully cooperating, caught in a tense moment that seemed to stretch endlessly.
I'm not reaching for no gun, bro. Can I move my...
You telling me the police at Omaha don't know who Terence Crawford is? Putting a gun in his face? Ridiculous.
That version of events was later challenged by Crawford's security chief, Qasim Shabazz, who offered his own account. He flatly contradicted the officer, saying Crawford never reached for any documents because they weren't with him. His license and registration had been left at home. From the start, both he and Crawford had disclosed they were carrying firearms, as Nebraska law requires, yet the situation still spiraled out of control. "I have a firearm, too," Shabazz recalled saying, but the officer erupted, shouting, "Get your hands up! Get out of the car! Don't reach!" And yet, no weapon was ever physically seen. "Everyone thought we were going to die, man," Shabazz said, the memory still raw.
In Omaha, after receiving the keys to the city? Huh? Hey, yo, that cop gotta be some hater, bro. Hey, yo, that's like the NYPD holding Derek Jeter on gunpoint and arresting him after the Yankee championship parade in New York City, bro. It doesn't make sense. It wouldn't even happen, bro. It wouldn't even happen. So this cop gotta be some hate.
Shabazz also pushed back against the claims of reckless driving. He said Crawford directly asked the officer whether radar had even been used. The officer admitted it had not. "Well, how do you know I was speeding if you don't have radar?" Crawford asked. Shabazz added that he recorded the exchange, capturing the officer on camera saying plainly, "I cannot. I admit that I do not have radar," a moment that cast serious doubt on the basis of the citation.
But they come up with guns drawn.
Wow, he had his gun drawn. Here's what TMZ wrote. Terence Crawford ordered out of the car by a cop holding a gun on a video. It says Terence Crawford was forced out of a car at gunpoint by police officers with tense exchange caught on video, and it's leading to an internal investigation.
The clash between the official account and Shabazz's version only deepened the debate. Crawford's team pointed to Shabazz's statements as proof the stop had been mishandled, while others argued that, radar or not, officers could still witness reckless driving. Inside the car, Shabazz described the scene as tense and frightening. Every passenger, including himself, was handcuffed, and the escalation felt unnecessary, especially after they had openly disclosed their firearms and tried to comply. At Crawford's request, a police supervisor and lieutenant were called to the scene, their presence helping to oversee the remainder of the interaction before the citation was finalized.
Investigation, but the damage is already done, my guy. The damage is already done. I'll be surprised if Terence Bud Crawford comes back to the city just disrespectful to the face of boxing. Not saying that the man's above the law, but Lord child, what was y'all doing? Gunpoint?
For now, the only official charge against Crawford is reckless driving. Police repeatedly confirmed that all firearms in the vehicle were legal and that no further charges would be filed. Yet, the contrast between the city's daytime celebration and the late-night stop became the defining story of the weekend. Omaha residents who had cheered in the streets hours earlier now saw headlines showing their champion being pulled from his car at gunpoint. On social media, reactions ranged from disbelief to outrage. Some called it the wildest 24 hours for a hometown hero. Others accused police of singling him out, while critics insisted he should have avoided driving late at night altogether.
Mayweather, I thought, took on some pretty tough 154-pounders and it was in a young Canelo and a very tough Cotto who was punching very hard from 40 to 54. You know, remember Cotto had knocked out Delvin Rodriguez at 54. He'd still done some damage at 54, and I thought
won a title at 60.
Yeah, and I thought he knocked out Martinez at 60, and I thought he gave Mayweather a pretty good fight at 54.
Mayweather has only fanned the flames of controversy, framing the stop as a stark example of what separates their careers. To Floyd, a legacy isn't just forged in victories. It's defined by the choices a fighter makes when the spotlight is at its brightest. In his eyes, Crawford tarnished his own celebration by ending up in handcuffs the very night he was honored, a moment that could have been pure triumph, instead caught in chaos.
I don't go off of that. Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Crawford's team has largely remained silent, offering only a brief statement. His spokeswoman confirmed on Sunday evening that he had no comment, and neither he nor his camp has responded further to the citation, the police accounts, or Shabazz's version of events. Meanwhile, the internal affairs investigation continues, and the citation still stands. Even as tensions between Floyd and Crawford keep rising, the rest of the boxing world hasn't stayed quiet. Legends, analysts, and promoters alike are weighing in, each with their own take, because when names this big collide, opinions are inevitable.
I knew that. But Saudi kept saying, hold him, keep boxing, keep boxing.
Does anybody know where Bo is?
Is he in the locker room?
Oscar de la Hoya, never one to shy away from a Mayweather conversation, made his stance unmistakably clear. He practically laughed at the notion that Crawford's win over Canelo could put him anywhere near Floyd. To Oscar, the comparison doesn't even hold water. He reminded everyone that Mayweather faced Canelo when he was younger, sharper, and arguably the tougher challenge, and still made him look like a novice. Crawford, by contrast, had to grind through 12 rounds to earn his victory. That's why, in Oscar's eyes, the gap between them is massive. Mayweather was already a king long before Canelo ever stepped into the ring with him.
That's using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his ways.
I knew that, but kept saying, keep boxing, keep boxing. Does anybody know where Mo is? Max Kellerman approached it with a different energy. He's always the one who refuses to make the conversation simple. He emphasized that greatness isn't just about a single opponent. For him, Mayweather built his legend through masterful defense, dismantling his challengers and frustrating them long before a punch ever landed, a brilliance that made him untouchable in the eyes of many.
Floyd Money Mayweather. Why is that the option? Well, for a few reasons. One, because Floyd doesn't like anybody being called the best while he's still living. So that's number one. Number two, they have been compared to each other since the fight, because Canelo Alvarez says, well, I think he's better than Floyd. So now they're starting to get.
Then there's Bernard Hopkins, who didn't sugarcoat a thing. He gave Crawford credit, calling him as sharp as anyone in the sport right now. But he reminded everyone of a challenge Crawford hasn't faced, Mayweather's psychological edge. Hopkins explained that fighting Floyd wasn't just about landing punches. It was about facing someone who could make you question yourself every single round. Part of Crawford's excitement, he suggested, might come from never having met an opponent who could completely strip him of his tools. To Hopkins, that's the dividing line between being good, being great, and becoming legendary.
Pass the torch to the right guy. He lost it to Terence fair and square, and he passed the torch. So, if you're gonna have another fight, cool, but you don't need to. You have nothing. He has nothing to prove. He fought Terence and nobody else would.
Analysts also point to the difference in marketability, Floyd's charisma ability to play both hero.
For Tyson, it wasn't about records or risk. It was about giving fans a spectacle that makes the world pause. And that's the point. This conversation has grown far beyond Crawford and Mayweather trading jabs. It's taken on a life of its own. Promoters are talking, networks are watching, and fans are already divided into camps, all imagining the possibility of these two titans finally stepping into the ring together.
Could have, but why do something when something else is working?
Easy answer.
Jeff Mayweather, on the other hand, defended Floyd by stressing the context often overlooked in these comparisons. By the time Floyd fought Canelo, he was already past his physical peak.
Eddie Hearn, on the other hand, has been poking holes in all the hype, insisting that Crawford's resume still doesn't measure up to Floyd's and warning fans not to crown him too quickly. Yet even as Hearn plays the skeptic, a louder buzz runs through the sport. Crawford is finally in a position to fight anyone he wants, free from promotional strings, while Mayweather moves, as he always does, on his own terms. That's the kind of setup that makes wild possibilities feel real, even the thought of a head-to-head clash. Floyd versus Crawford.
Go off of that, Floyd is the best fighter, in his era, and I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about the fight,
And things could get even more intriguing. Mike Tyson's upcoming exhibition with Mayweather has been a huge draw, but whispers about Tyson's health keep emerging. If anything sidelines that event, the sports rumor mill already has a backup storyline ready. Why not slot Crawford in as the unexpected substitute?
Fights, later down the years. I think Crawford would just be able to break that defense. I don't know. The thing is about Terence Crawford, he has a very, very awkward style, very awkward foot movement and footwork.
Stepping in for Tyson would instantly turn the event from spectacle to super fight, and it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Another clash might already be brewing for next year. Turkey Alalshik recently sparked attention by hinting at a blockbuster showdown between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez.
You've been training Crawford for years. Is he retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
With Turkey's
is Terence Crawford retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Alvarez. It's shaping up as another chance to bring two of the sport's biggest names together under the Saudi spotlight.
Ever entertain a fight with David Benavidez?
You gotta understand.
I gotta ask you, bro, because I can't,
My thing is, Benavidez is a big dude. Not to say I won't fight him. I fought his brother. His brother was big when I fought him. The only reason why I entertain Canelo is because he's not a big dude. He might be thick, but he's not a big.
But Crawford's trainer, Bomac, wasted no time shutting that door. When asked about the proposed fight, his answer was blunt. No, they weren't doing it. He didn't dive into details, but made it clear that stepping into the ring with Benavidez isn't part of Crawford's current plans. From Bomac's perspective, Crawford's career is about staying focused on the right opportunities, not chasing every name thrown his way.
I always love watching you switch stances as effortlessly as you do. You didn't do that a lot in this fight. You didn't have to. Were you expecting not to have to?
No, I felt like I could have, but...
On the other side, Benavidez himself cast doubt on the idea, noting that he's already moved up to light heavyweight at 175 pounds. For him, dropping back down just to face Crawford doesn't make sense. With Bomac's rejection and Benavidez's stance, the potential clash quickly lost momentum, leaving Crawford to explore other super middleweight options. Which fight do you think comes first? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.